Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to compare the difference in Shibori style rope shirts using a smaller piece of rope and a larger piece of rope. I want to see how much difference the size rope makes in the way the shirt looks when it's dyed. If you watch a lot of my videos, you may remember that a couple of months ago I posted a video for a Shibori style rope shirt that I made. When I made that shirt, I used the rope that I had available at the time, which was some really thin, small polypropylene rope. Just as a refresher, this is what the shirt ended up looking like. Because the rope was so small, I layered it about 10 times and wrapped the shirt around that. I decided to try to find some larger diameter rope and make a shirt using the larger rope. It wasn't quite as easy as I thought it was going to be finding a larger diameter rope. I was looking for polypropylene rope in particular because this kind of rope does pretty good not to soak up the dye, like a cotton rope or a jute rope might do. I looked at a couple of the large hardware stores in town and I couldn't find any, so I decided to hit the internet and I found a place where I could order some. The rope that I ordered is 1.5 inches in diameter, and I had them cut it into a 4-foot length for me. I'll leave a link down below this video in the description for where I purchased this in case you'd like to purchase some and can't find it in your area either. So the smaller rope that I used is very flexible, very pliable, and is probably only about 1/4 inch in diameter. Like I said, I layered it about 10 times and tried to just kind of attach those layers together to make something that I could wrap the shirt around. This larger piece of rope is a lot more stiff. It's actually a piece of rope that's made up of 3 1/2-inch pieces of rope that are wound together. They've also taped the ends of the rope when they sent it to me so that it won't unwind. Okay, so let's get started on making a Shibori style rope shirt using the larger diameter rope. To begin, as usual, I've washed and dried the shirt, soaked it in a soda ash solution for 20 to 30 minutes, and then I wrung it out of my Panda spin dryer so it's just barely damp. I've also gone ahead and turned the shirt inside out. I've laid the shirt out flat, and beginning at the bottom hem, I'm going to lay the piece of rope down on top of the shirt and just wrap the shirt tightly around the rope. Now I'm going to begin pressing or scrunching the shirt into the middle of the rope. I'm going to push it as far into the middle as I can. See how this forms all the different folds in the shirt when I do that? When I've pushed each side of the shirt into the center of the rope as far as I can, I'm going to go ahead and hold these folds in place with some kite string. I felt like I needed to go ahead and see if I could press the shirt a little tighter into the middle. So I went ahead and did that before I started wrapping the kite string around. Once I have the shirt tied, I'm going to set it aside and allow it to dry out really well before I start applying the dye. So to do a fair comparison of this shirt, I'm going to use the same color that I used for the other one, which is Dances with Raisins from Dharma Trading Company. Like before, I've mixed up 8 ounces or 1 cup of dye. And I'm going to apply the entire bottle to this shirt. The purpose of this comparison is really to compare how much difference the size diameter rope makes on the design in the shirt. The shirts themselves are not exactly the same. This is a size extra large, and the shirt that I made before was a size large. I am using the same amount of dye on both of the shirts. However, I don't have a lot of runoff happening on this shirt, and I had quite a bit of dye runoff on the size large shirt. If you'd like to reference that video, I'm going to put a link down below this video in the description if you'd like to watch that one and see exactly how it was different. So the shirts aren't exactly the same, but I still think we'll be able to tell whether or not the rope diameter makes a difference in the way the design looks. The designs using the rope are pretty easy to dye because you just have to spin the rope and apply the dye as you turn the rope. I'm trying to be fairly consistent about the amount of dye that I apply to each area. I don't want to oversaturate areas of the shirt. I want it to be fairly consistent. Once I've applied all 8 ounces of the dye to the shirt, I'm going to use my hands and squish the dye down into the middle of the shirt a little bit. There's going to be white area on the shirt, and I actually want that. But I do want to make sure I can work some of the dye down through the shirt. Then I'm going to put the lid on the container and allow the shirt to process for at least 24 hours. After 24 hours, I took the shirt to my utility sink and began rinsing. I started rinsing the shirt in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. I rinsed in cold for quite a while because it's a little bit difficult to get all of the water down through the shirt. Then I removed the kite string and unwrapped the shirt from the piece of rope. It's always important to remember to wash your piece of rope properly after you use it. You don't want any excess dye that may be down in the middle of this rope to come off onto another shirt. I rinsed it really well, and then I put it in a sink of hot water with a little bit of Dawn dish soap and soaked it for about 30 minutes. Because this is polypropylene, having it around the liquid and soaking it in water will not hurt it at all. That's one reason why I'm using this type of rope as well. Now that the shirt is unwrapped, I'm going to gradually warm the water up to hot and continue rinsing to rinse out any of the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. After I rinsed it for a little while, I decided to go ahead and soak the shirt. I added some hot water to my sink, put a little splash of blue Dawn dish detergent into the water, and soaked the shirt until the water was cool. Then I changed out the water and repeated the soaking process a couple more times before I threw it in the washing machine. I washed it in the washing machine using Dharma's textile detergent and hot water. And after the shirt was washed and dried, this is what it looks like. So let's just talk about this shirt for a minute before we move on and compare the two. Of course, I love the Dances with Raisins color from Dharma Trading Company. And then the horizontal lines that you see going across the shirt, those are from where the shirt was wrapped around the piece of rope. Also, the design in the shirt, that waffly kind of design, that came from the piece of rope too. And I really like that design. I think it's really cool. That's one of the things I like about the rope Shibori shirts is the design that you get from the rope and pressing the shirt into the middle and adding those wrinkles or those folds in the shirt. I also like the fact that it's almost solid at the top. You do still have some of the rope design in the top of the shirt, but then as you go further down the shirt, there's more white in the shirt, and I like that. Okay, so let's compare the two shirts. The shirt that I just made is the shirt on the left, and the size large shirt that I made a couple months ago is the shirt that's on the right. I can already tell right away that there's not as much rope design in the shirt that I made a couple of months ago as there is in the one I made today. Of course, the rope that I used was a lot more pliable, so the rope would give some, and it didn't have a large enough design in it to make as much of an impression in the shirt. I have the horizontal lines in the shirt that I made a couple of months ago, And I actually have 5 horizontal lines in that shirt instead of just 4, because the piece of rope was not as wide in diameter as the piece of rope I was using today. So the shirt wrapped around more times. I also have a whole lot more white left in the shirt where I used the smaller diameter rope, which that kind of surprised me because I used the same amount of dye in both of the shirts, but the shirt with the smaller rope was actually a size large and the shirt with the larger rope was a size extra large. So I actually expected there to be more white left on the shirt that I made with the larger diameter rope and the larger size shirt. Like I said earlier, I had quite a bit of dye runoff on the size large shirt, so that probably accounts for some of the additional white. Also, because that rope was so pliable, I think I probably was able to push the shirt tighter into the middle than I was with the larger diameter rope. That may account for some of the larger white areas too, instead of them being a little bit smaller like they are on the shirt where I use the larger rope. I also think that part of the reason why I have more white left on the smaller size shirt that I use the smaller rope on is because when I wrapped it around the rope, it was wrapped additional times. That's the reason why I have 5 horizontal lines in that shirt and only 4 in the other one. So because it was wrapped around the rope more times, I don't think that the dye could get all the way through to that very bottom part of the shirt as easily. Overall, I like both of the shirts. You kind of see some of that technique and some of that design in both of the shirts. If you like more of the waffle look, I think you probably should go with the larger diameter rope though. That's a much more prominent feature in the design with the larger rope. If you like a less defined design, the softer, smaller diameter rope might be the way to go for you. I think this has been a fun comparison video. Even though the sizes of the shirts were different, I still think it gives me a pretty good idea how much different the shirts can look based upon the diameter of the rope. I'm not quite sure which shirt is my favorite. I really like the additional white left on the smaller diameter rope, but I like the waffle design that the rope left on the larger diameter rope. So what do you guys think? Which one is your favorite? Do you have a particular favorite? Do you like one more than the other one? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed this video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.